Hey everyone, it's Joe from ROLI here, back again with LUMI Keys Studio Edition. So we're going to look into some techniques and tips and tricks that you might not know that LUMI Keys can do, including working with ROLI Studio Player and also working in plugins in some of your favorite DAWs outside of the ROLI ecosystem. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about lift. Now, lift is the fourth dimension of touch on the LUMI Keys. It really adds a new layer of expression. And the way it works is the quicker you lift your fingers off the keys, the sound changes, basically. So we can do a slow lift like this to get a smooth, soft sound that you might have in an intro or maybe in the verse of your song. Or if we do a quick lift like this, it gives an extra layer of expression. So for example, we could use that when we're making a melody or in the climax or the chorus of a song, just by lifting off quickly like this. Now the LUMI Keys has got per key pitch bend, meaning you can change the pitch on every single key that you play, just like on the C-board. On LUMI Keys, the best way to do a pitch bend, I think, is to anchor your finger into one place and then just kind of push the key left or right, like this. If we move our finger from side to side, push the key from left to right really quickly, we get a really nice vibrato sound. So really makes the sound a lot more expressive, makes it sound a lot more realistic as well. One extra little tip to make the pitch bend more pronounced and more obvious. If we go into ROLI dashboard here and we look at the MIDI settings section, there's a section called key pitch bend amount. This basically tells the LUMI how many keys for the pitch bend to go up or down by. So if we put that up by 1, say, it makes the keys more sensitive to pitch bend. And before. Obviously, when you make it more sensitive, you have to have more control over what you're playing, but it could be useful for you, especially if you're playing a different sound and you want the key to bend a little bit more. Just put that key pitch bend amount up by 1 in dashboard. So now here's a cool trick that you can do with ROLI Studio Player. So having smart chords turned on means that we get a chord for every key that we play. Turning the Arpeggiator on means that we get to arpeggiate those notes in that chord. But now, because we've got pitch bend turned on, we can bend all of those notes in that chord. Check it out. So it instantly makes that one chord or that one arpeggiator a lot more interesting, gives it this kind of ethereal, kind of dreamlike quality. So just play around with some of the chords, some of the arpeggiations. It can really make your music sound next level. Now, this is one of our most requested features and requested tutorials. How do you use LUMI Keys outside of ROLI Studio Player and use it with things like Kontakt? So this is how you do it. Open up ROLI dashboard, change the MIDI mode to multi-channel, set the MIDI end channel to 10, the key pitch bend amount to 1, the MIDI start channel to 1, and the pitch bend range to 24. Now it's a good idea here to save your settings. So let's go to Save As, and let's call that Kontakt New. Also make sure that you have pitch bend enabled in your mode as well. Back into Kontakt, we're going to open up the factory library and load one instance of the jazz guitar, for example, but you can choose pretty much anything from this library. And then, because we set 10 channels, we're going to make 10 examples of those instruments. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now you'll find when we play, so that really makes this guitar sound a lot more realistic, allows you to do the real life pitch bends that you would be able to do on a guitar. You know, I love using this for, for my tracks when I want to get a guitar playing, but my guitar playing is not very good, so I can play it now on the LUMI Keys. So just remember to set those channels in dashboard, and that's how you can turn a Kontakt instrument into an MPE instrument and play it on your LUMI Keys. So let's talk about modes. Now, modes are ways that you can store different settings and have them recalled to you just by pressing the power button. Now, that can be really, really useful. Say if you're playing a song and you've got an MPE sound like ROLI Studio Player or Equator, and then you want to switch straight onto a sound that's not MPE, so like a piano sound, for example. Instead of going into the menus and the dashboard, you can do it straight from the keyboard itself. So the way I like to do it is I have one mode with pitch bend and pressure enabled, like that, using the rainbow color scheme, for example. The second mode is without pitch bend, but with pressure. And I can flick over to that mode by pressing the power button like that. So now we've got the pro colors, pressure, but no pitch bend. The third mode that I've set up here is using the user colors, this blue and orange. Now we do have pitch bend, but we don't have pressure. So that could be great for, say, if you're playing like a lead sound or a solo sound and you just want the keys to have that pitch bend, but you don't want any of the aftertouch going on, just have that set up. And fourth mode, I've set up to be piano. So that's using the piano color scheme, just black and white notes, no pitch bending and no pressure. So great when you don't want to have any of those 4D touch controls. So if you're playing a piano sound, for example, and you just want the keys to be in tune and accurately played as soon as you play them. Switching between them is as easy as just pressing that power button once. That will cycle through all the different modes. And it's a really, really useful way of using your LUMI without having to go into menus, without having to click around on your computer. So especially good for a live situation, for example, or if you're just in the studio making tunes and you want to quickly change some of the settings. So if you don't have a music theory background or you're fairly new to playing the keyboard and the piano, LUMI Keys makes it super easy for you because we can now actually set the key and the scale to show up on the keys themselves. So the way that works is you go to ROLI dashboard, you choose the key, then you choose the scale you want to play. So for example, let's play in the F blues scale. So just by setting those in ROLI dashboard, we can see that the keys have now lit up in that scale. So now we just play those keys and we're playing that scale. So that makes it super easy to come up with new melodies, come up with new chords, and you don't need to worry about learning those scales from scratch or having a background in music theory or the piano. We just set those scales and set those keys in dashboard. The keys will light up on the LUMI Keys to show you what notes to play. And as long as you're hitting those notes, you can't go wrong. So that gives you an idea on how you can use LUMI Keys and the scale feature to learn new scales and make some new different sounds in your music. Now you might not know that you can connect up to 4 LUMI Keys Studio Editions together to make this massive 96 key LUMI Keys. It's really, really easy to do. Every LUMI has got a couple of DNA connectors on the edge. So once you've connected one LUMI Keys to your computer using Bluetooth or USB, you literally just snap the second one onto the side like that. The magnetic connectors will snap onto the first one and both will be connected. Using one LUMI Keys, amazing. Using 2, even better. Using 4 is even better still. Makes a really epic, huge sound like this. And here's a cool little trick. Did you know that you can actually disconnect the LUMIs once you've connected them and they'll still remain connected? So now we're completely wireless, but they'll all still work at the same time. So that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and you've learned some new ideas and maybe some new tricks and tips. Leave us a comment below if you've got any ideas on anything else we should cover in some upcoming videos. We'd really love to hear your feedback. Keep following us for more tips and tricks just like this. Take care.